When the hour came, Jesus and his apostles reclined at the table, and he said to them, I have eagerly desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I tell you, I will not eat it again until it finds fulfillment in the kingdom of God. After taking the cup, he gave thanks and said, take this and divide it among you. For I tell you, I will not drink again from the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes. And he took the bread, gave thanks, and broke it. Giving it to them, he said, this is my body, given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. In the same way, after the supper, he took the cup, saying, this cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you. But the hand of him who is going to betray me is with mine on the table. The Son of Man will go as it has been decreed, but woe to that man who betrays him. They began to question among themselves which of them it might be who would do this. A dispute arose among them as to which of them was considered to be greatest. Jesus said to them, the kings of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who exercise authority over them call themselves benefactors. You are not to be like that. Instead, the greatest among you should be like the youngest, and the one who rules like the one who serves. That's found in Luke chapter 22, verses 14 through 26. You know, it is absolutely incredible that Jesus, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, God in flesh, did not come with power and might and wealth to carry out his dominion and to rule and lord over people. He came to serve. He came to defeat power and might by giving up his life. This was such a backwards way of thinking, but it's consistent with God's character. Because you see, on the very first Passover, when the Israelites were rescued from slavery in Egypt, part of the reason why God brought plagues upon Pharaoh and Egypt was as a testament against that kind of forceful, domineering leadership that uses and abuses people, so that those who have the power and wealth can become more powerful and more wealthy. That is the antithesis of what God considers to be good ruling, good leadership. If we truly want to be like Jesus, we will not see ourselves as leaders in charge. We will not see ourselves and compare ourselves with others to see how maybe we're better than them. No, instead, we will consider others better than ourselves, and we will look for ways to give of ourselves for the sake of others. We will look for ways to serve others with the gifts that God has given us. And you see, as Jesus shared his last meal with his disciples, he gives them this beautiful picture of what it looks like to be a servant by bending down on his knees and taking on the job of a slave by washing their feet. And he asked them, do you understand what I've done for you? If I, as your teacher, as the Lord of Lords and King of Kings, have come to serve and have washed your feet, do this for one another. Do this for others. And as you see in Luke records the disciples having an argument over which one of them is going to be the greatest. And Jesus says, no, that's the way the world works. The world views power and might and domineering over others as greatness. But what God views as greatness, what Jesus demonstrated as greatness, was lowering oneself to be the least of these and to serve others. How do you view other people in your life today? Do you struggle with comparison, with trying to be better than or greater than or wiser than or have more than? Are you running the rat race the world wants us to run, to chase after possessions and power and popularity and might and position? Jesus says, for those who truly want to follow him, we're to be different than that. Because you see, being a human on this earth who follows Jesus isn't a comparison game. To be like Jesus, we deny ourselves, we take up our cross, and we follow his self-giving way of love. So I challenge you today to ask yourself, how can I be a servant to someone in my life today? How can I give of myself for the sake of someone else without expecting anything in return? How can I do so with a grateful heart that's thankful for Jesus and what he's done for me and how he gave his life to serve me?